Welcome to the August 18, 2022 Parma City School District Board of Education meeting. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
For roll call, Mr. Nucio.
Mrs. Bratz.
Present.
Mrs. Karpus. Mr. Price.
Present.
Mr. Ruda.
Present.
Mr. Vaughn.
Present. Dr. Smalley, can you please confirm that this meeting is currently being live streamed?
Yes, it is.
Can you please monitor the live streaming throughout the meeting? And if there's a problem, please speak up immediately so that the technical difficulty can be addressed. I'm a little animated today.
We will do so.
Thank you.
Evidence.
That brings us to information to the board. Dr. Smiley.
Thank you. Just a few things. As we begin school, our current enrollment is 9,260. It's about 125 less than last year, but a decent amount of that difference is because of the folks that held their children back during the 2021 school year and didn't enroll them right away because of the COVID and sort of foreseeing the in and out type of formats that we followed that year. So that really explains sort of that gap. We also really invite people on Saturday. We're really excited to have our kickoff. This is really a community resource fair at this point. This topic has done a great job of organizing many different entities. There's a lot of information available on social media, but we hope that folks will turn out. It really is a great tradition. I think this is our 5th straight year that we've done this, and we want to continue to do so. Families can come of any age. We really encourage kindergarten families especially because it's a nice way to start their education with us, with the parade around the track as part of what we do for our kindergarten students. And then we open our doors on Monday, and we're excited for that. Our buildings look phenomenal. We have to make sure we thank our classified associations that have been here all summer long, preparing our buildings. I think people have no idea the amount of work that goes into a school and preparing a school from the time we leave. Students leave in June to the time they return in August. And when we walk through any of our buildings right now, as we've all walked through a good number of them, it's extremely impressive with how clean they look, and the waxed floors always get you back in that mode of it's go time. So thank you so much to all of our classified association folks that really worked hard to prepare for next week. We will send a communication to families tomorrow, just reminding them some of the ins and outs of school as we approach the school year. I want to be candid with parents, as I've been candid with the board. Our bus driver allotment is not what we hope it would be at this point. So we will ask for patience as we juggle some routes and try to make sure that we're getting our buses out into all of their stops as soon as possible, but also knowing that we are in a state where we are looking for more bus drivers. This is not unique to the Parma City Schools. In fact, where I live today, we got an email from Shaker Heights. They went from 50 bus drivers 2 years ago to 25 now. So they lost 50% of their force. We haven't had that type of attrition, but we do want parents to know that we are working hard to address that. And we really forecast a minimal disruption, but one that we do want to be forthright about, and that we are working to eradicate that as soon as we possibly can. Other than that, all systems go. We're very excited. We have heard horror stories from other districts that are down 10 and 15 teachers. They've had to eliminate foreign languages. I mean, it really, the workforce is not what we would hope it would be. We are fully staffed with a few minor exceptions that came to us really right in the last couple of weeks. But I can count on one hand the number of positions we're still trying to fill, and haven't had to eliminate courses, haven't had to change schedules at the last minute. So we're fortunate to have a strong teaching union and a strong teaching group and a strong commitment. And other than looking to bolster those bus drivers, we are excited for that first day and optimistic that we're going to have a great school year.
Awesome. Thank you.
Could I ask a question?
Certainly you may.
Dr. Smith, do you know how many of those students are PVLA students this year?
We're down about 80, aren't we? Aren't we around about 80 students in PVLA?
Okay, thank you. And as you speak about the shortages, it's not a Northeast Ohio or even Ohio problem. You hear on national news all over the place how
Yeah.
they're struggling with filling teaching positions and all staffing positions, but especially bus drivers. You hear about that a lot. So.
Okay, very good, thank you. All right. This is communications. Ms. Carpus.
I don't have anything than to say that I've been in several of our buildings leading up to today for the various open houses and everything. In fact, I was hauling it from Pleasant Valley's open house, but everything looks wonderful. Teachers are wonderful. Everybody seems really excited. I'm super excited, and I think our kids are in for a good school year. I apologize for being late, and I apologize that I will be dipping out early, but it is.
You won't be. You won't be. We got this.
All right, let's go. Let's go
6:40.
then.
That's it, so the key.
All right, let's move.
Of course, I do.
All right, we'll keep it short if they're not making me leave early.
We're rowing the boat.
This is such a busy time of year, although I don't know when we're not busy. But everything's ramping up, and after, a little bit slower summer, it's exciting. I was at the new teacher orientation last Friday. We didn't have a lot, but I got to talk with every single one of them, and it's exciting to see, their anticipation, and they were all very confident. I thought there'd be some nerves there, not so much. They're really pretty great. And then saw them again on Tuesday morning at the new teacher breakfast or Spotlight on Education, sponsored annually by the Parma Area Chamber of Commerce. I know you were there, Mr. Vaughn. Dr. Smilek was the keynote speaker again this year with inspiring and interesting remarks as usual. And that went very well, and it was a good event where there's business folks and community folks, as well as school district folks and the new educators across the district. So that was a very nice event as well. I did the Alice training that afternoon, or later that morning and afternoon that Mr. Ridgely coordinates, and that was very interesting to see how that works in the buildings too. So all of that's enjoyed, and looking forward to all this stuff that's coming up in the next few days as well.
Tomorrow's convocation.
Yeah.
Big day.
Oh, I do have one quick thing to say about that. I'm very super honored that my senior, who I will be ditching out to see tonight, will be one of the convocation speakers tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
Blew that secret.
Sorry.
I guess that's not secret anymore.
Proud mom moment.
Yeah. Okay. Sean? Anything?
Yes, I completed the popular annual financial report. PAFR, I think the report, got a copy of it. It was sent out on social media yesterday. It was Tuesday, I'm sorry, it was Tuesday. And we're gonna have some copies printed and distributed at the libraries, so people who don't have social media can take a look at it. 8 pages, and it's very informative of our finances. So I just wanted to say it's available.
Excellent.
You did a wonderful job.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's easy to read, easy to follow, understandable for sure. 100%. That was great. Thank you. All right. That's it for communications then? From you? Yep. Very good. Do we have any amendments? No? Walk-ons? No? Okay, I don't like that. So, I move to adopt resolution 2022-08-312, approval of the written record of proceedings from August 4th, 2022 regular and special education special Board of Education meetings.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution 2022-08-312. Are there any questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, roll call, Mr. Nusio.
Mr. Vaughn.
Yes.
Mrs. Carpus.
Yes.
Mrs. Bratz.
Yes.
Mr. Kreis.
Yes.
Mr. Ruda.
Yes.
Resolution 2022-08-312 has been approved. That brings us to curriculum. Mrs. Bratz.
Thank you, Mr. Vaughn. I move to adopt Resolution 2022-08-313, granting authority to the administration to enter into a contract with the family during the 2022-2023 school years.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution 2022-08-313. Any questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, roll call, Mr. Nusio.
Mrs. Bratz.
Yes.
Mrs. Carpus.
Yes.
Mr. Kreis.
Yes.
Mr. Ruda.
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn.
Yes, resolution 2022-08-313 has been approved.
I move for the adoption of Resolution 2022-08-314, authorizing agreement for Clover.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution 2022-08-314. Any questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, Mr. Nucio?
Mrs. Bratz.
Yes.
Mrs. Carpus.
Yes.
Mr. Kreis.
Yes.
Mr. Ruda.
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn.
Yes. Resolution 2022-08-314 has been approved.
Unless another board member has anything to discuss, that will conclude curriculum for tonight, Mr. Vaughn.
Thank you, Mr. Cross. This brings us to business, Mr. Ruda.
Yes, I didn't mean to cough, I'm sorry, while you were speaking.
Oh my gosh, I didn't even notice. Off whenever you need to.
I move to adopt Resolution 2022-08-315, authorization to enter into an agreement with University Hospitals Health Systems Incorporated for sports medicine services.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution 2022-08-315. Any questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, Mr. Nucio?
Mr. Ruda.
Yes.
Mrs. Bratz.
Yes.
Mrs. Carpus.
Yes.
Mr. Kreis.
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn.
Yes, resolution 2022-08-315 has been approved.
Okay, I move to adopt Resolution 2022-08-316, the authorization to enter into advertising sponsorships at Byers Field.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution 2022-08-316. Any questions or comments from the board? No. Mr. Nucio? Roll call.
Mr. Ruda.
Yes.
Mrs. Bratz.
Yes.
Mrs. Carpus.
Yes.
Mr. Kreis.
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn.
Yes, authorization to, resolution 2022-08-316 has been approved. My fault about that.
All right, I move to adopt Resolution 2022-08-317, the authorization to enter into an agreement to provide bus maintenance and repairs for Fairview Park School District.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution 2022-08-317. Any questions or comments from the board?
Yeah, can I provide a few comments? So this is a pretty exciting opportunity for our mechanics, especially to, quite frankly, make a little bit more money for their talents. Fairview Park reached out to us earlier this summer. They had previously partnered with Olmsted Falls, and Olmsted Falls has lost a couple mechanics, and so their mechanic staff just isn't in a state where they can handle Fairview Park. We have written this agreement so that this will never be a money loss for the Parma City Schools. It can really only be a money win because we will bill Fairview Park for the work that our mechanics do. And quite frankly, that rate is pretty advantageous to our mechanics for lending their talents to another school district. And the other piece is, if there comes a situation where they work 5 hours a day on a Parma bus and then 3 hours a day on a Fairview Park bus, which could happen, depending upon how our buses pulled up and whether our mechanics are driving or not, that time, that 3 hours would actually be a savings to us because we're billing Fairview Park for that. We do anticipate a lot of this being outside the workday, and again, the rate is built so that we're certainly protected. We're not paying our mechanics at that point; they are paying them. But we're always looking for ways to regionalize. We shared our bus services with Brooklyn for several years, and actually had money in that allowed us to buy smaller vehicles for students with students with disabilities or small athletic runs. And so this is also a way for us to say that we're sort of a powerhouse here in terms of our size and in terms of the workers that we have, and it's great to be able to enter into arrangements that help our employees financially and also help our district financially.
Okay, very good. Sounds like a win-win for us.
Yes.
It cannot be a loss.
Cannot be a
Yes.
loss. Okay, definitely a win-win. Okay, thank you. Mr. Rubin? Did we vote on this already?
No.
No, that's-
Roll call, Sean.
Roll call, Sean, thank you. I got
Mr. Ruda.
short memory loss today.
Mrs. Bratz.
Yes.
Mrs. Carpus.
Yes.
Mr. Kreis.
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn.
Yes, resolution 2022-08-317 has been approved.
Unless another board member has anything else to discuss, this concludes business.
Thank you, Mr. Ruda. Sorry for that.
That's all right.
The short naps are wonderful. Let's bring it to the finance, Mr. Kreis.
Yes, I'd like to move to adopt Resolution 2022-08-318, approval to prepare District Popular Annual Financial Report, PAFR.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution 2022-08-318. Any questions or comments from the board? We heard already from Ms. Nucio, so I think we're good there. So Ms. Nucio, roll call, please.
Mr. Kreis.
Yes.
Mrs. Carpus.
Yes.
Mrs. Bratz.
Yes.
Mr. Ruda.
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn.
Yes, resolution 2022-08-318 has been approved.
I'd like to move to adopt Resolution 2022-08-319, approval of the July 2022 financial report.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution 2022-08-319. Any questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, Ms. Nucio.
Mr. Kreis.
Yes.
Mrs. Carpus.
Yes.
Mrs. Bratz.
Yes.
Mr. Ruda.
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn.
Yes, resolution 2022-08-319 has been approved.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt Resolution 2022-08-320, ratification of investments.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution 2022-08-320. Any questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, Ms. Nucio.
Mr. Kreis.
Yes.
Mrs. Carpus.
Yes.
Mrs. Bratz.
Yes.
Mr. Ruda.
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn.
Yes, resolution 2022-08-320 has been approved.
I make a motion to adopt Resolution 2022-08-321, approval of supplemental appropriations.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution 2022-08-321. Any questions or comments from the board?
I just want to mention that there's a $274,000 appropriation in Fund 599. That's Kristen Plageman getting a FEMA grant for the district, which she's spent about 2 years trying to get
2 years
that.
trying to get
And
it.
finally getting it, so now we're appropriating it so we can spend the money.
Okay, very good. Thank you, sir. Roll call, then.
Mr. Kreis.
Yes.
Mrs. Carpus.
Yes.
Mrs. Bratz.
Yes.
Mr. Ruda.
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn.
Yes, resolution 2022-08-321 has been approved.
I move to adopt Resolution 2022-08-322, approval of then and now certificates over $3,000.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution 2022-08-322. Any questions or comments from the board?
You want to talk about the big one real quick?
Yeah, there's a large one up there for Liberty Mutual. When we had our budget meeting in May, we budgeted $346,000 for the insurance for the district. But with inflation, the bill came in about $364,000. So when we got the bill, we had to move money from another line item to pay for it. So we had to move $18,000 into that line item, but of course we already have the bill because came in, that's why we needed to move money. So once we moved money, we paid the bill, but it came first. It wasn't like we totally forgot.
So really, it really is only 18,000 that was unaccounted for, not 364,000,
Right.
but just
Exactly.
paperwork.
It just looks like a large number, but 346,000 was budgeted, with just inflation caused everything to go up.
Yeah. Thank you.
Roll call, Ms. Nucio.
Mr. Kreis.
Yes.
Mrs. Carpus.
Yes.
Mrs. Bratz.
Yes.
Mr. Ruda.
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn.
Yes, resolution 2022-08-322 has been approved.
I noticed there's no gifts this meeting.
No.
Yeah, that's
No donation.
I would expect
I always
to
look
see-
forward to that.
I would expect to see several in the next coming
Yeah,
years.
as
Yeah.
August ends and people get back into the swing. Unless another board member has anything to discuss, this concludes finance for this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Kreis. Legislation, Mrs. Carpus.
I do not have anything tonight, and hopefully there will be worthwhile reporting on some movement in the next couple months.
Mrs. Ross, you have anything you
I do not.
attached to that? Okay, thank you. All right, we'll move on there. So, Mrs. Ross, Human Resources.
Thank you, Mr. Vaughn. I move for the adoption of Resolution 2022-08323, Approve association leave of absence and terms and conditions for same.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 2022-08-323. Any questions or comments from the board?
This is Jeff Wensing, who was a teacher for us in the district. 3 years ago, he was elected, I think it was 3 years ago, he was elected to OEA leadership down in Columbus. And this is the agreement where we continue to pay him, and we pay him for supplementals and TPO, the third party or something. And then we bill OEA and they reimburse us for everything. So it's not a loss to us at all. It's just,
It's not like we just pay him and he does whatever he wants.
yeah, so this, yeah, so he got reelected to that post, so this is the second agreement.
Very good, thank you. Roll call.
Mrs. Bratz.
Yes.
Mrs. Carpus.
Yes.
Mr. Kreis.
Yes.
Mr. Ruda.
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn.
Yes, Resolution 2022-08-323 has been approved.
I move for the adoption of Resolution 2022-08324 to approve teacher professional organization agreement.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 2022-08-324. Any questions or comments from the board?
This is similar to Jeff Wensing's, but this is for Sue Messinger to be the president of the Northeast Ohio Education Association. So they reimburse us the same amount. This is like, I think it was like $9,000 plus benefits, so it's like 10,000 something. They reimburse us, so it's no loss to us at all.
Okay. Thank you. Roll call, sir.
Mrs. Bratz.
Yes.
Mrs. Carpus.
Yes.
Mr. Kreis.
Yes.
Mr. Ruda.
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn.
Yes, Resolution 2022-08-324 has been approved.
I move for the adoption of Resolution 2022-08325, approval of the following certificated exhibits: confirmation of certificated appointments, confirmation of certificated replacements, confirmation of stipend amounts, confirmation of supplemental appointments, approval of certificated non-compensated leaves of absence, confirmation of substitute administrator appointments, acceptance of certificated administrative resignations.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 2022-08-325. Any questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, roll call, Mr. Nusio.
Mrs. Bratz.
Yes.
Mrs. Carpus.
Yes.
Mr. Kreis.
Yes.
Mr. Ruda.
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn.
Yes, Resolution 2022-08-325 has been approved.
I move to adopt Resolution 2022-08326, confirmation of certificated administrative appointments replacement.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 2022-08-326. Any questions or comments from the board?
Yeah, can I comment on
Yes,
this?
sir, please do.
Really excited to present Brian Brichetti for a promotion. Essentially, he was the Dean of Students at Shiloh, and I believe he's been there 3 years. And this would be his promotion to the assistant principal ranks. And this was brought about by us allowing Stephanie Berry to leave approximately August 1st, 5th-ish, somewhere in there. She went to Medina, so there was a glaring hole at Parma Senior High, and Brian has been excited to step up into that role. This also is going to result in some savings to the district, because with his move and with Leah Walden's move, and it's a lot of little dominoes, but we're essentially down 2 deans we've cut, and so those are really savings this year of approximately $100,000 each. It also means that our administrators are doing more, right? I mean, that work doesn't go away. There's just fewer people to do it. So we thank the staffs of Ridgebrook, administrative staffs of Ridgebrook and Shiloh, who are now going to split a dean. But Brian, if you know Brian, you like Brian. Brian was actually a city council member of Parma, and I know that had a certain status in the community. At that point, he stepped down. When he started his jobs with us, he came to us from Cleveland, where he was, I believe, a career counselor of some sort. And he really has just been an asset to any situation he's involved in. Brian was not himself an actual classroom teacher, but he has really taken it upon himself to become an instructional leader. He's trusted as a resource and as an ally for teachers. And we're really excited to have him at Parma Senior High. I think he's a great addition. I think Parma Senior High needs as much positive energy as they can possibly get in this last year as a high school. Hopefully just a 3-year gap until it comes back. But we know it's going to be a challenging year for Parma Senior High, and Brian's a great personality to have there. We're really excited.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see this. I was talking with Brian at the new teacher breakfast. I've known Brian since he was probably 8 years old. And he wrestled here for Parma High. And he was a student. He actually wrestled my son a couple times. I'm not going to remember what the results were because it was so many matches ago. But I know they wrestle each other. And they become friends and they talk to each other. That's one of those, how that sport works. Anyway, it's just really nice. Brian, congratulations. Glad to have you and see that you grew up through Parma and came and still are here. Kind of like a deer, 5 miles from home, right?
I love it.
So anyway, yeah, congratulations, Brian. You'll do a great job.
I got to, go ahead.
Well, I'd like to comment too. I've known Brian a long time. He was my councilman when he was a councilman. He did a great job. But Brian's a lawyer as well. He's an attorney. He worked at the Cuyahoga County Prosecutor's Office. So I worked with him down there when I was working for Bill Mason. And he's a great kid. He worked with my son at PJ's Pizza. And so I've known him for a long, long time. He's a great kid, and I was going to mention he's a great wrestler too.
Yeah,
he's a good wrestler and a good coach.
Yes, he's an excellent coach.
Yeah, he's a good coach. Congratulations, Brian.
Yeah, congratulations, Brian. I'm going to add some kudos as well. I've known Brian a long time and always had really positive experiences with him. But I'm going to add something that I learned not too long ago. He was valedictorian here at Parma High School when he attended. So this is a bright guy and has a lot of tools in his basket and is a real asset. I was so excited to see him come into education. And I know he's been great here in the district. So hooray.
Now I feel like I'm shortchanged because I don't know him outside of his role as a councilman or as this. I briefly knew him as a councilman, and then the wonderful work he's done within our district, but not preceding that. So
I do know the results, by the way. But anyway,
Well, this is a happy
roll
thing.
call, Mr. Nucio.
yeah, roll call, Mr. Nucio. Let's get this guy on.
Mrs. Bratz.
Yes.
Mrs. Carpus.
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes.
Mr. Ruda.
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn.
Maybe. Yeah, of course. Yes. Resolution 2022-08-326 has been approved.
I move to adopt Resolution 2022-08-327, revision of certificated administrative substitute pay rate.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 2022-08-327. Any questions or comments from the board?
Yeah, if I can just comment, we were really shamefully low in this substitute administrators, and we do have some administrators that are going out for extended amounts of time this year. And when we talked to the ESC who post interim jobs for us, they sort of laughed at us. They said, "Well, we can post it at that rate, but you're going to get absolutely no interest." And we do need folks to be able to step up when we have some long-term absences. So this revision brings us at least in line with sort of the bottom tier of Cuyahoga County. It's certainly not even in the middle, but it's better than it had been.
Okay. Very good. Thank you. Roll call, Ms. Musso.
Mrs. Bratz.
Yes.
Mrs. Carpus.
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes.
Mr. Ruda.
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn.
Yes. Resolution 2022-08-327 has been approved.
I move for the adoption of Resolution 2022-08-328, bus duty substitute appointment.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 2022-08-328. Any questions or comments from the board? We don't have bus drivers, I believe. So.
This is bus duty.
Bus duty.
So it's
Yeah.
supervising students before and after school.
I'm sorry, I didn't read it. My bad. Mr. Nucio.
Mrs. Bratz.
Yes.
Mrs. Carpus.
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes.
Mr. Ruda.
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn.
Yes, Resolution 2022-08-328 has been approved.
I move for the adoption of Resolution 2022-08-329, approval of the following classified exhibits: confirmation of classified appointments replacements, confirmation of change of classified assignments, confirmation of classified resignations, approval of classified non-compensated leaves of absence, confirmation of stipend amounts.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 2022-08-329. Any questions or comments? from the board? Seeing none, roll call, Mr. Nucio.
Mrs. Bratz.
Yes.
Mrs. Carpus.
Yes.
Mr. Kreis.
Yes.
Mr. Ruda.
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn.
Yes, resolution 2022-08-329 has been approved.
I move to adopt Resolution 2022-08330, adoption and creation of classified dispatcher position and adoption of job description.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution 2022-08-330. Any questions or comments from the board?
Yeah, I'd like to comment on this as well. I want to make sure folks understand this is not an ad, it's really a reclassification of a job that already existed. We have continued to make sure that anyone working in the bus garage has a CDL. Quite frankly, I think we should all get our CDLs.
Just in case.
Yeah, and it probably behooves all of us to get that. So there was already a secretarial position. The difference in pay from the secretarial position to the dispatcher is approximately $6,000, but we should be able to recoup that with the Fairview Park agreement. So this really should not be any type of significant increase in the general fund expenditure. And again, it is a one-for-one. This isn't an additional person. It's just changing the person that's there.
Thank you. Is there anybody else? Nope. Roll call, Mr. Nucio.
Mrs. Bratz.
Yes.
Mrs. Carpus.
Yes.
Mr. Kreis.
Yes.
Mr. Ruda.
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn.
Yes, resolution 2022-08-330 has been approved.
I move for the adoption of Resolution 2022-08331, confirmation of classified reduction in force.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution 2022-08-331. Any questions or comments from the board?
The only thing I want to say is, RIFs are never fun, but in this case, if you're no longer with us as a general monitor, we hope that you check it out and see what other positions we have open, including bus drivers. We do train, so that's a good kind of thing. You can still be hands-on with the kids and in our school community, and we would love to keep you. Unfortunately, we couldn't keep you in the positions you were in, but we'd love to have you in a different capacity. That's it.
Thank you. Anybody else? Roll call, Mr. Nucio.
Mrs. Bratz.
Yes.
Mrs. Carpus.
Yes.
Mr. Kreis.
Yes.
Mr. Ruda.
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn.
Yes, resolution 2022-08-331 has been approved.
I move for the adoption of Resolution 2022-08332, approval to compensate district mechanics for additional work to maintain, repair, and offer roadside assistance for Fairview City Schools.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution 2022-08-332. Any questions or comments from the board?
Just that I thank you for your explanation, Dr. Smilek, and I thank Dr. Schneider for all your hard work putting it all together, and I am excited for this,
Yeah,
for our employees and for our district.
definitely a win-win for us and them. So, anybody else? No? Roll call, Mr. Nucio.
Mrs. Bratz.
Yes.
Mrs. Carpus.
Yes.
Mr. Kreis.
Yes.
Mr. Ruda.
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn.
Yes, resolution 2022-08-332 has been approved.
Unless another board member has something to discuss this evening, this will conclude Human Resources, Mr. Vaughn.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Bratz. That was quite lengthy today. Policies, Mrs. Carpus.
I do have one. We already had the first reading of it, so today I move to adopt Resolution 2022-08-333, approval of the following revised policies. Policy 2370.01, blended learning. Policy 6110, grant funds. Policy 6325, procurement, federal grants and funds.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution 2022-08-333. Any questions or comments from the board? Excuse me. Seeing none, Mr. Nucio.
Mrs. Carpus.
Yes.
Mr. Ruda.
Yes.
Mrs. Bratz.
Yes.
Mr. Kreis.
Yes.
Mr. Vaughn.
Yes, resolution 2022-08-333 has been approved.
Unless any other board members have anything to discuss, that concludes policy for the evening.
Thank you, Mrs. Carpus. Any information requested by the board members?
Just real quick, did anybody talk about these?
No.
So I just want to thank the nutrition department for our fun little cherry tomatoes. And if you don't already, please follow them on Instagram at PCSD_nutrition. That's it.
Awesome, thank you. All right, so any questions? Nope, so that brings me to me. So I did a speech a couple meetings ago about Road About, Right, and I retooled it a little bit, so, mind you, here's this, so as we, I know, I'll get you out of here, it's a minute 30. It's a minute 30. So, as we move towards the future in our district, I wanted, it was my desire to bring the communities together. And for each individual to believe in the students of our district. So in doing so, I'm going to reference P.J. Fleck, who is the Minnesota football coach. And he has a row-to-boat philosophy. And he has 3 parts to that. First part is the oar, and I'll explain each of those. And second, the boat, and 3, the compass. It's really about building a team culture. However, I think I'm going to manipulate this a little bit and apply it to our situation that we have with the new school. So, first off, the oar. The oar represents you, the community member, and the energy that you have to get us from point A to point B. Your strength and belief is the oar. It's the only thing that's going to move the boat. The boat represents the community. The community with everyone's oar in the water, rowing at the same speed, with the same effort, moves the boat forward. If only one side of the boat is rowing, we would go in circles, as I mentioned before. If a few people are rowing, or we're rowing at a different speed, then we zigzag, and we don't get to point B very quickly. What are you willing to do to make the move, to move the boat forward? Jeez, oh man, I messed up. All right, third part's the compass. And the compass represents the people around you and the direction that we're moving. Are you willing to put your oar in the water to make the boat move in that direction? We as a community must all row the boat at the same speed in the same direction to reach B. When you row a boat, your back is to the future. You face the present and the past. Learn from the past, focus on the present, and be ready for the future. Thank you. Are your oars in the water? So row the boat. I'm done. Thank you. Thank you.
I just hope PJ Fleck doesn't come at you.
Like, I hope he copyright infringement right now.
No, I gave
He's
him
been
credit.
pretty good to give him credit.
Gave him credit twice. All right, so this brings us to Resolution 2022-08-335. I move to adopt Resolution 202-08-335 to adjourn this meeting.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 202. Geez, oh man, hold on. We have a motion and a second to adopt Resolution 2022-08-335. Any questions? No. Roll call, Mr. Lucio.
Mr. Vaughn.
Yes.
Mrs.
please.
Carpus.
Yes.
Mrs. Bratz.
Yes.
Mr. Price.
Yes.
Mr. Ruda.
Yes.
Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody.